Good morning and welcome to the Benton County Courthouse. This is the most recognized icon for the city of Corvallis, for Benton County, and in the state of Oregon. It's the oldest courthouse in the state, still being used for its original use. And it's full of wonderful stories, and we're going to tell you some of them. So come on, let's go inside. Hello, we are now on the first floor, and before we go any further, I want to be sure to tell you that what we're covering on this tour is just a little bit of what all the stories and all the things that we can tell you about the courthouse. We're very limited in our time here. So if you'd like to take a longer tour, you can either go to the website, the Benton County website, or contact the county clerk, and he can set up a tour, and we'll arrange it according to a time that both of us agree. So now we are in the historic courtroom, and basically this is a collection of a lot of our older furniture. Of course, there's older furniture everywhere in the courthouse, but this is a nice little collection. As we walk through the courthouse, you'll see these old chairs. It's amazing how much of the original furniture in the courthouse we actually still have and are using. These tables are original as well, as are chairs. Big old heavy things. They have been recovered, but everything is original. As is the desk, the roll-top desk over there, and the law library bookcase. This originally belonged in the county clerk's office, and it disappeared. About 10 years ago, my sister was checking antiques in Albany, and she said, you know, I saw a piece that said it used to be in the Benton County Courthouse. So I went and checked it, and of course, it was one of our original pieces. So the Benton County Historic Commission bought it and returned it to the courthouse. So this was actually in the county clerk's office. Victor Moses was the county clerk, and he worked in the courthouse for 30 years. By the way, his wife's name was Vina. They never had children, and a lot of you will recognize the name Vina Moses because she started the nonprofit that we still use today to collect clothing and other needs, other things for needy people in the area. This vault here is the famous vault that the courthouse only had one break-in, and a couple people came in the early 1900s and blew this safe. The only thing they got out of it was the county clerk's watch, and they were caught before they crossed the river into Lincoln County. So that's the story of the great vault escapade. All right, the story about the Benton County Courthouse is a story about population and change. When the courthouse was originally built, It was huge and far too big for the population that was in this county at that time, even though at one time, Benton County went all the way to the California border and to the coast. So it was a huge area, but very small population. They built this big courthouse to attract business and the railroads. But the voters were incensed about the money that was spent to build it. And so the next time there was an election, they did not re-elect the judges who had decided to build the courthouse. Well, that was back in the 1880s, and the courthouse is still serving the people of Benton County. And most of the furniture in the courthouse, or much of the furniture in the courthouse, is the original furniture. So in the long run, we really got quite a bargain. But there have been changes as the population increased and more services were needed. We had to find more space. And so I'll be telling you about that as we go along. But let me take you down this beautiful corridor. All of this is original, of course, including the map tables and the chairs. Up until the 50s, we had sawdust on the floor and we had spittoons. So it was indeed very historic in a lot of ways. I want you to look up and see how high that ceiling is, because it's the very height of the ceiling that it made it possible for us to add an extra floor when we needed the space, which became the district attorney's floor. That is Themis, the goddess of justice, of course, and that is the theme of this whole courthouse. Just as the 8-foot statue that's outside of the building is a statue of Themis, otherwise known as the goddess of justice. You're looking at Judge Mangler. And he was an extremely important man who was responsible for the fact that we still have this lovely historic courthouse. Back in the 50s, people decided that they were going to tear down the courthouse and build a modern one. Judge Mangler was a sitting judge at that time, and he told everyone, as long as I'm a judge in Benton County, I will put my feet under my desk in this courthouse. And he started a group of people to save the courthouse. They did that by getting it put on the National Register of Historic Places. And so we have him and a few of his comrades to thank for the fact that this wonderful building is still here. I was privileged to do a tour that included his widow, and I was able to thank her again for him working so hard to save this building.
One of the vaults in the courthouse. In here, we have many records that we maintain, but the vault doors still remain from the original installation. You can see through the clutter that the ceiling is cast in place and that the walls are very thick in this structure. And here we've got approximately a 2-foot thick wall structure built up on masonry with iron bars on this. They've removed the interior iron bars, but the exterior ones still remain. In this vault, clear down through the basement is a foundation of granite, and all the way up through this is solid granite construction.
So I'm going to tell you about Martin Lindsay. When I first came and started doing tours of the courthouse, I told everyone it wasn't haunted. But I found out over the years that we actually do have our own resident ghost. His name was Martin Lindsay, and he was a attaché for a general in the Union Army during the Civil War. He was caught crossing the lines with a message, we don't know what kind, and was put into Andersonville, the terrible prison camp that the Southerners had. He survived that and moved out to Oregon, and when he was an old man, became very despondent. And one day, when everybody had gone home for lunch from the courthouse, of course they left all the doors open then, he walked into the basement, sat down on a stack of wood that they used for heating, and shot himself. The caretaker of the courthouse found him before the smoke from the gun had dissipated. So apparently he really liked this place because he's still around. I get lots of collections of ghost stories from different people who have. So there have been lots of stories about Martin Lindsay. And when I used to run up and down the stairs at case at night, because I had election crews on different floors, it was always dark here, and I always saw a gentleman standing at the base of this staircase wearing a round hat. And I thought, well, that must be in my imagination, because if it was Mr. Lindsay, he would be wearing a uniform and everything. But then I found out that early in 1900s, they had a Civil War reunion here at the courthouse, and everyone wore bowler round hats. So apparently he is here. He's a very nice person, doesn't hurt anybody, but he does make his presence known. And mostly people notice or feel him right here. Okay. This is the Newell Post. At one time, someone, for some reason or another, stole the Newell Post, and for many years there was nothing here until one of our local artisans found a nice piece of wood, carved a new one, and put it back. So that's the story of the Newell Post.